Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the All Star Race for the second season of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series powered by the WRA. It is great to be with you to wrap up what has been a great All Star Race weekend. And we're getting set for 30 laps, which we will see a pit stop that will play a factor into today's race. I'm D DeVos, ready to call this race for you guys here on the Blue Hedgehog TV on this Sunday afternoon. It's really a lot of fun. We had 24 drivers locked into the All Star race. We had the 6 drivers that transferred in from the All Star Open you saw yesterday afternoon. So we're going to go over these drivers, tell you who got into the All Star race due to what victories, or if you got in via the All Star Open. On the pole position is a surprising pole sitter. It is Luna Farmer in the number 60 machine. Luna Farmer qualified in due to a win earlier on this season at Loudon, New Hampshire. It was her first career win of the Winston Cup Series. Alongside of her is Margaret Jacobs running the Patriotic Scheme. She qualified her way into the All-Star race due to a win last season at the season finale of Toronto. Then in the next row is Ben Tennyson, the 0-1. He won here at Daytona last season. That's how he got in the All-Star race. And Ashley Reynolds has 2 wins that got her in the All-Star race. Pocono this season and last season at the track we'll be going to next week, the Coke 600. In a one-off for the number 66, it is Melissa Cooper. Qualified her way in the All-Star race due to a win last season at the Chicagoland Speedway. And Jerry Harvick has 4 wins that got him in the All-Star race. 2 of them last season at Hillside and Papyrus, also won this season at Dover and Phoenix International Raceway. Kevin Joseph is in the next row with Chloe Erickson. Kevin Joseph got in due to a win last season at Dover, and our Coca-Cola winner, Chloe Erickson, in the 46. Hannah Smith in the 70 qualified her way in due to a win last season at the Kentucky Speedway, and Josephine Bouvier, who accidentally put her in the Open for no apparent reason, she qualified her way in due to a win last season at Martinsville. Then in the next row is Luigi Cadet. In his final scheduled start, he won last season at the 2-mile Michigan International Raceway, and alongside of him, Ben Erickson qualified his way in due to a win last season at Rockingham, North Carolina. Then in the next row is Ashley Horton in the number 10 machine. Horton qualified her way into the All-Star race due to a win last season at Pocono. And alongside is Mia Watts in a 1-race deal for the number 42 machine. Watts won last season at the sister track of Daytona, Talladega Super Speedway. Then in the next row is Maddie Crenshaw, last season's Southern 500 winner, and alongside of her is Brad Lewis, who got into the All-Star race due to a win last season at the Texas Motor Speedway. Vanko Seaman in the number 15 has 2 wins this season at Auto Club and Texas, alongside Annie Crenshaw, who won 2 races, both of them coming last season, or is a 3-time winner, 2 of them last season at Loudon and Richmond, and 1 at Sonoma earlier this season. Then in the next row is Tatum Wright in the 0. Qualified her way in due to a win last season at Lime Rock Park, and our Las Vegas winner from this year, Liliana Beta. The 2 Canadians I call friends as far as that's concerned. Betty Barrett has 3 wins that got her in the All-Star race, 2 of them last season at April in Indianapolis, as well as this season at Rockingham, North Carolina. And Jacob Tutu got in due to a win last season at Homestead. Betty Johnson in the 43 machine. Command, by the way, has already been given. Our winner from Champs-Élysées, and last week's winner in the All-Star, from Darlington, that would be Jessica Miller. And then it's the transfer drivers. Jacob Foster and Courtney Lynn, the 2 open winners. Cassandra Mills, Addison Peterson, those 2 finished second in their opens. And Shyla Ascroft, Lucy Myers all finished third. That's how those drivers got into the All-Star race. We're going to get these drivers forward. So that is your starting lineup for today's All-Star race as the field enters turn number 3. What nervousness awaits some of these drivers that have never been in the All-Star race before? Of course, remember, there are no points on the line. Only $1 million. Here we go. The second All-Star race for the Winston Cup Series is underway. Let's go, drivers. When a farmer got out to a big lead, but on a super speedway like Daytona or Talladega, that is not a good idea. That field is going to swallow up the rookie out of Year One Motorsports right back up to her. As now the field is coming off of turn number 4, Luna Farmer will lead the first lap of this race. Melissa Cooper in the 66, the Aaron's Dream Machine. This is the car Carolina Bradley will race at Talladega in 2 weeks' time. And it didn't take long for that pack to reel in the 60 machine, so that was not a good decision to have a good jump to the start of the race if you're the 60. But hey, this is a non-points event, so give where credit is due for all these drivers who made the All-Star race. Luigi Cadet, what will be his final start of the year? Molly Watts will be in that 45 trying to qualify her way in the show next week. She turned 18, but she's not racing because Luigi Cadet has the ride this week. Actually, Molly Watts, before the season, did turn 18, rather. As Luna Farmer currently leading as we're now on lap number 3 of this All-Star race. I should point this out. Whoever wins the All-Star race is locked into next season's All-Star race because of the fact of being the All-Star winner. We are going to have a new driver winning this race, regardless which of these 30 drivers will be, because the defending winner of the All-Star race is not in this field. That would be Jarrett Johnson. The car he drove to go to victory lane did not make it. That was the number 14. That's now being driven this season by Muhammad Zain. Unfortunately, Zain did not qualify into the All-Star race, but will have a spot. Will try to qualify his way in next week at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, to be exact. A lot of these patriotic schemes we're seeing, like the 15 and the 8, they will also be running those at the Coke 600 next week. As we will begin the second half of the season, as we get set to go racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It should be a fun race weekend over there. It'll be a night races, but it'll be the standard weekend that we normally see. Pole day qualifying Thursday night at 7 for the Craftsman Truck Series drivers. Pole day qualifying for Busch will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 7 will be the Craftsman Truck Series race. Next Saturday at 5 will be the Winston Cup Series qualifying from Charlotte. The Busch race at 7 p.m. on Saturday. And next Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Winston Cup race, the Coke 600 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. All of it right here on the World Racing Association's multimedia network. Betty Barrett going underneath Tatum right in the 0. Selena Farmer still leading that race. I'm kind of surprised nobody has gotten up to the back bumper of the 60 machine. Lucy Meyer, Shyla Ascroft, Cassandra Mills, the three drivers who took part in the Open yesterday afternoon. They got some track time experience. But of course, they had to start 25th through 30th because of where they finished in the Open. 25th, 27th, 29th were the inside line, 26th, 28th, 30th, the outside line on the results of the Open. So it's just these 30 drivers that are still here at Daytona. They'll meet up with the other drivers that did not make the All-Star race, as well as they'll meet up with the Craftsman trucks and the Busch drivers when we go to Charlotte Motor Speedway next week. Couple of drivers that are not in the All-Star race that were winners last season. Zachary Taylor won at Kansas. No longer in the series. So we'll see how that will go. Hopefully we will not have anybody get ejected after this season. Fingers crossed as far as that's concerned. And it doesn't matter where you finish in this race. This is a non-points event. So we will not show you any points because this is a non-points event. The only thing we will tell you is we're excited for next week's race. As far as that is concerned, where points will be back on the line. And Vanko Seaman, who's in the All-Star race, he will be entering Charlotte as your points leader. So he'll get a week to enjoy the points lead. There's Jacob Tutu as the pack skin broken up a bit. Not sure what's up. Jacob running the Reese's colors on his Chevrolet, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. That orange number 29, Courtney Lynn, will see her qualify into the Charlotte next week. There's Jessica Miller. Mia Watts, her final start. She'll hand that car back over to Diego Marquez beginning next week. Melissa Cooper, we'll see Carolina Bradley back in this ride next week. Carolina was originally going to be in this car, but then I forgot that Melissa Cooper needed the ride for the All-Star race, so that's why Carolina Bradley not here this weekend. We'll see her next weekend. We'll also see Addie Peterson. She'll still be in the 97 starting next week as Betty Johnson is about to lose the draft. Should point out fuel is on ×2, so that means we will be seeing pit stops in the course of this race. And nobody has had a response to the 60 machine, which they are running the same ratings, the 40x60 ratings, because I'm not doing ratings for any of my series. No, I want to give everybody a fair competitive edge. Make this fair as possible. As I just got another ping. Oh, it's yeah. I'll deal with that later. It's like Betty Johnson, Margaret Jacobs about to lose the draft. For some of these drivers, this will not be some of them will be using the same paint scheme they're going to run for the Coke 600. Some of them are going to be using a different scheme for the 600 next week. Vanko Seaman, I know, will be running this car next week at the Coke 600. And of course, Vanko is going to be your points leader going into next week. Because remember, this is a non-points event, so he gets to keep the points lead. In fact, nobody's going to lose any points. Nobody's going to fall through the standings. Because, like I said, this is a non-points event. So whatever the points were after Darlington, those will be the points going into next week at Charlotte. So that way there's some clarification as far as that's concerned. So, like I said, even if these drivers do not have a good result, just remember this is a non points event. So, there's no gaining points, losing points, yada, yada, yada. This is just for a fun race, don't matter. But next week, it will matter. And the other thing I could also say for some of these drivers that are in the All Star race, like Luna Farmer, Shyla Ascroft, that are not in the that this was their only series, this could be a big advantage for them because, and also you can throw Jacob Foster in this conversation, is that, with this being the All Star race at a super speedway, and I believe for some of them, this is their first super speedway event of the season. Because remember, some of these cars they're going to be using the same setup in 2 weeks at Talladega. So the big question is, like Jacob Foster, who is going to be attempting to qualify at Talladega in a couple of weeks. You know, his drivers Futaba Sakura and Ellie Rose. They're probably going to go ask Jacob, what did you learn from the All-Star race that helped you that we can use for our cars to make it in the races? We're at the midway point of the event, and that's something I think. Luna Farmer is also in that same boat. She can share some of her information she's learning from this race here today. As Margaret Jacobs, Betty Johnson has lost the draft. Courtney Lynn is in the same vote as far as that's concerned. Some of these drivers that we see in trucks and Busch, they can share some of their information with other drivers. Same with Cassandra Mills. Same with Jacob Foster. Shyla Ascroft, I can include her in this conversation. Especially those that have not made a super speedway event this season. As in the words of Cody Smart, Luna Farmer is now on the chopping block for a "you blew it." Mia Watson, the 42, we've seen her sister Molly. She's made 4 races. She has yet to make a start since. Of course, Molly will have to qualify her way into the show next week at Charlotte, since she is on the entry list. And we got pit stops. Now, let's be careful coming to pit road, folks. Don't need an incident on pit road where somebody's going to get damaged, and that's really going to hurt the aerodynamics on these cars. It's Betty Johnson and Margaret Jacobs, the last of them to catch up. Now, the question is, what do you go with? Do you go with 2 tires, 4 tires, or do you go with fuel only? And I think for the Busch drivers that are not racing this weekend, they're going to probably ask, their team owners and all that, what do you learn? They're probably going to ask, like Lauren Grubius, who didn't qualify for the All-Star race. As here comes the rest of the drivers that have not come to pit road yet. Addison Peterson. So that is everybody else who has made a pit stop. Let's see what they all took. Looks like they all took gas and go. So it says to me that tires are not going to be a factor in this race today, which I'm starting to think if that is indeed the case, and when we go to Talladega in a couple of weeks, will that be the case for the Cup drivers as well as for Busch? That's going to be something I think we're going to see going into that race weekend. Believe Mia Watts will be the race leader because she's going by a number of drivers who just came out of the pits. Because there's Annie Crenshaw and Jessica Miller. They're still trying to get up to speed. Mia Watts is already up to speed. So we're going to have 12 laps to go in the All-Star race. Looks like Annie Crenshaw is going to keep the lead. Jessica Miller and Mia Watts will be the top three. Lucy Myers, Luna Farmer was the race leader before that cycle of pit stops. It's like she will be in fifth. She'll be swallowed up by these guys and gals right here, led by Ashley Reynolds. Jacob Foster, Shyla Ashcroft, Cassandra Mills. That will be your top 10. And Kevin Joseph is now out of the race due to a gearbox failure. Looked like when he went to shift, it broke, and the gearbox let go on his 16. So, tough break for Kevin Joseph. Bad news is gearbox broke. Good news is this is a non-points event. So, hallelujah, as they like to say, y'all. And this is the first time Luna Farmer has been in traffic all race. Remember, she enjoyed that nice clean air that she had at the beginning of the race. So we're going through the rest of the running order. Liliana Beta trying to hang on to this pack. Courtney Lynn has lost the draft. Margaret Jacobs gained some spots. A lot of drivers lost a lot of spots. Jerry Harvick lost some spots there. So we're coming down to 10 laps of racing to go here at Daytona for the All-Star race. And it looks like it's going to be these four ladies that are going to battle for the chance to win $1 million. And for some of them, 3 of the 4, this would be big momentum for them going into the second half of the season. Because the 42 is a one-race deal. So Mia Watts, even if she wins the All-Star race, it's a one-race deal, for heaven's sake. So she's got nothing to lose. Miller, Myers, and Annie Crenshaw, on the other hand, this would be big for them going into the second half of the regular season. And it would be big for Jessica Miller because remember, last week she got in the All-Star race after winning Darlington. Keep that in mind. And she is the gal that will try to run down Vanko Seaman for the points lead next week at Charlotte when points are back on the line. As of this recording, I just finished watching a movie on Disney Plus. Yes, I got Disney Plus back. And of course, Annie Crenshaw trying to build some momentum. But here comes the second pack led by her older sister, Maddie Crenshaw. Maddie Crenshaw got to stay with Ricky Cervantes' team this season. And even if she wasn't, she was going to get a ride for the All-Star race anyway. And of course, she has been signed to a multi-year extension. Same with Monica Towns. Same with a couple of other drivers that are going to be staying on the team. And Maddie's going to be the competition director at Crenshaw Motorsports, which that's big for Maddie. Wants to still be a part of racing, which is completely understandable. as Lucy Myers has the lead. So we have our third different leader, and the pack is trying to reel them in, but they're running out of laps. They only have, like, as of at the line, they'll be at 6 laps of racing to go. We still have 29 drivers still on the lead lap. The only driver that will not reach the conclusion of the race as of now, Kevin Joseph, will finish in the 30th position. But Kevin won't be too disappointed because, like I said, this is a non-points event. Nobody's going to fall through the points table. Nobody's going to gain points. This is a non-points event. This is actually our last non-points event because it'll be points events from here on out, from now until the checker flag at the LA Maxwell Center. As Mia Watt's one race deal has now taken lead from Annie Crenshaw. But this pack is starting to reel those top 4 in. It was down to a second, under 2 seconds. They may have a chance to reel in this group. Let's take an onboard with, let's go Liliana Bates and show you what is it like to be in a pack at Daytona. You can tell on that onboard that you can hear the bumps because this is a very bumpy racetrack. And just like that, they have caught these 4 drivers. That's a well done to this group right here. They have now caught the leader, the top 4. So that means we have 20 cars in this lead pack. There's a second batch of stragglers led by Brad Lewis with Barrett, Betty Johnson, Tatum Wright, Vinko Seaman. And then this trio with Margaret Jacobs, Chloe Erickson, Jerry Harvick. Courtney Lynn has lost the draft. So Courtney Lynn not going to be a factor, but it really doesn't matter where you finish. This is a non-points event. We're down to 3 laps to go. Now this is going to get interesting, y'all. As I see Senor Sean just said hi to me. Of course, Sean did not qualify for the All-Star race. Neither did his sister, Jessie. So, but we'll see them in action next week at Charlotte. Jessie's got to qualify her way into the show. Sean Art locked in the top 35 in the points. Next time by, it'll be 2 laps of racing to go at Daytona. Who is going to go to victory lane and win $1 million? This is going to get really good, y'all. Rare do you hear me say the sentence Daytona and $1 million on the line. Here comes Liliana Bay to the inside. Next time by will be the white flag. One more time around Daytona, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Liliana Beta, our winner from Las Vegas. But here comes Cadet. Here comes Tutu and Farmer. White flag. Next flag will end the race. We will race it back to the checkers no matter what. Here comes Farmer. Does she have any help? She's going to go to the inside of the 45. I don't know if she's going to have anything for the 38. 38 shuts the door. Here they come off of turn 4 for the final time for the All-Star race. I don't know if Farmer's going to pull out. I don't think so. She's going to pull out, but it's going to be too late. And Liliana Beta is going to win the Season 2 All-Star race for the Winston Cup Series at Daytona. The rookie sensational has done an amazing job. Got into the All-Star race with her win at Las Vegas. Now she has 1 million reasons why she is an All-Star winner, joining the likes of Jared Johnson. Can you believe that? Luna Farmer will get second. Ben Tennyson will get third. Luigi Cadet fourth. Jacob Foster in fifth. Good runs for a couple of these drivers that are one race deal drivers. We'll document them in just a second. Good confidence booster, I think, for Farmer and Foster going into the second half of the season. Ben Erickson will get sixth. Ashley Reynolds in seventh. Ashley Horton in eighth. The Ashley and Ashley Show. Jacob Tutu and Lucy Myers will complete the top 10. Melissa Cooper 11th. Addison Peterson 12th. Mia Watts, Cassandra Mills, and Maddie Crenshaw. Some of these one-race deal drivers, we probably may not see them ever again. We may see them down the line. We'll have to wait and see. Those cycle of pit stops hurt a number of drivers in the process. As you look on down to the remainder of the finishing results, some of them ended up losing the pack and ended up getting a poor finish, which the good thing about this, like I said, it was a non-points event. But the 29 to 30 drivers all finished on the lead lap. Nobody finished a lap down and more. The only driver that did not reach the conclusion, mechanical failure, took Kevin Joseph out of the race after the cycle of pit stops. He will finish in the 30th position. So, good thing for these drivers, this is a non-points event. So there were no points on the line. It's just bragging rights, and Liliana Beta will be happy to go to victory lane at Daytona to win $1 million. Hope you guys enjoyed today's All-Star race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the World Racing Association crew today. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of the World Racing Association for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction or rebroadcast or retransmit or any other disseminations or the use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the World Racing Association is prohibited. Blue Hedgehog TV and the World Racing Association want to thank you fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. We showed your full finish results. There's no need to look at the points table because the points are basically the same after Darlington. And next week, all three series are back in action. We'll have the Craftsman Truck Series drivers on Friday night, the Busch Series drivers on Saturday night, the Winston Cup Series Sunday night, the longest race of the year, the Coca-Cola 600. Until then, for our studio engineer, Caleb Hobbs, I'm Dean DeVos. Thank you for joining me and saying good night from Daytona National Speedway. Enjoy the rest of your Easter Sunday. We congratulate Liliana Beta on her All-Star win here in the Winston Cup Series. Coming up next, we'll rejoin the Infinity Network Sports Studios programming already in progress. Have a great Easter, everybody. We'll talk to you next week from Charlotte. You've been watching the World Racing Association's Multimedia Network.